on GoSuffolkRams.com. From Boston, Massachusetts, welcome to Suffolk Sounds, the official show for Suffolk University athletics.
Right, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Suffolk Sounds podcast. This is episode 34, featuring a very special guest today, men's assistant basketball coach Dana Harris. Before we get into the interview with Dana and his backstory, we just want to remind everyone in Ram Nation that the women's and men's ice hockey, women's and men's basketball, and women's and men's indoor track seasons will be coming to a close in the next coming weeks. We got some very important games coming up, conference matches, conference playoffs, and we just want to encourage everyone in Ram Nation to get out and support the teams while they still have a chance. The spring season is right around the corner, which is really exciting, but still plenty of important matches to go. So speaking of important, getting back to our guest for today's interview, we have assistant coach Dana Harris, one of 3 men's basketball assistant coaches, but the longest tenured of that group, currently in his 7th season with the program. And I'll let you introduce yourself, Coach. Just give us a little bit of background on your own basketball career before ultimately transitioning into coaching.
Yeah. So first and foremost, happy to be here. Dana Harris, everyone calls me Coach D, so Coach D is totally fine. I'm a senior program manager at Playworks New England. I've been with Playworks for 10 years. This is like you said, my 7th season on staff at Suffolk. I also use sports instructor at the local YMCA right near my house. And I'm also on the board of directors at another local nonprofit named 1B. So my background is really all sports. Not that I have this unique life, but the way my life is now, like when you look back, hindsight being 2020, I was always heading here. I grew up in a boys club atmosphere. It was down the street. So when I say like every day that I wasn't, that we weren't in school. So after school, summer camps, school vacations, all of that. So you go your traditional sports, your basketball, your Pop Warner, your Little League, your ice hockey, karate, boxing, drama club. Like I was that active kid. You'll see the energy throughout the video. That's just kind of how I roll, right? So then you just fast forward to high school. There goes the cat right there. Yeah. So then you fast forward to high school. I played for a legendary coach, Abner Logan, a proud storied program, Jeremiah Burke in Dorchester. We were really, really good. To this day, I'm 35 now. Still can't figure out how we didn't win a state championship either my sophomore or junior year. A lot of talent who ended up playing all sorts of levels of college, basketball and football. God, I still can't believe we didn't win. But within those, actually, I didn't hardly ever talk about this because it just doesn't really come up. But you asked, so I'm going in. I did some freelance work. It's long been defunct. I've tried to find it and it just doesn't exist anymore. And I wish I still had it, but I did work for a local recruiting website in high school. There goes the cat on my lap. So in between games and practices, I would go scout other teams on behalf of Coach Logan, and our unofficial assistant coach, Miss Irving. She's another legendary Boston educator. And I would do that during AAU tournaments. AU's way different from when I was in high school, 2000 to 2004. A lot less teams, a lot less tournaments. I would play in tournaments and then go scout the next one and then do write-ups and evaluations on a website. And then from there, I got into coaching because my father passed away last year, but he challenged me. God forbid he didn't challenge me, right? I had an offer on the table to go to prep school in Maine. Like, Dana, we think you can play college ball. D3, maybe D2, but D3 for sure. Think you can play college ball. Interested, come up here. My dad put me on the spot. This is why I miss him, and this is why he is who he is. What are you going to put work into? Coaching or playing?
Yeah.
He would call me out, and he was right. And I was 17, and I made that decision. So my high school paper was how I wanted to coach.
Wow.
And yeah, it can sound like storybook and cliche, but I've always known I've wanted to coach. I've wanted to lead. So that's where, just growing up all into sports, working at sports summer camps through middle school and high school and in college, and then being a student manager, I was always going to end up as a coach. So that's how my journey got me to college and through college for sure.
Yeah. So you knew that you wanted to get into coaching even starting in high school. So what kind of led you to UMass and a sociology degree, and then what you eventually did as a student manager there?
It was man, don't get me started on UMass. It was going to UMass for sports management and then bouncing around to different majors. But really the basketball part of UMass was two of my closest friends I grew up with, Anthony Gurley and Lex Mongo, are both Boston residents. And they both ended up at UMass. Ant Gurley was a top like 70 player when he graduated high school, started at Wake Forest, but those are my two closest friends. They were there. And then it was a Division I school, and it's the local Division I school. And I'm also of the age group where I remember the refuse to lose can be years when they made the national and all that, right? So UMass was just a perfect fit. And getting there was like, okay, how do I be involved, right? I can hoop, but coaching is it. I didn't know what student managers were. Hey, just come to practice. You can hang out and rebound and all those things. So that's how I got plugged into that. And then, I mean, you don't want to say like it's been going up ever since, but again, that's just a part of their journey. It's been going forward ever since.
Yeah. I mean, I know from my experience at UNH, I worked a lot of the basketball games and I saw what the student managers had to do going in every single day to practice. What did you learn like early on as a student manager there at UMass about the coaching profession that kind of made you want to pursue it later on?
One, the connection and bond with the guys, right? So I'm not going to lie. On one hand, yes, Lex being there and Ant being there is also a great thing. Hey, I've known you guys since middle school. This is the coolest thing ever, right? But then meeting the other guys, they're from they're from the DMV, from Florida, from New York, building that rapport and bond, being part of a team. But then seeing how a high-level practice gets run, seeing what goes into those decisions. I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like they had me at every coach's meeting, but you can tell I'll talk and I'll advocate for myself. Hey, Coach DK, Coach Kellogg, why that? Why in this order? And then his lead assistant at the time, Vance Wahlberg, is the creator of the dribble drive motion offense. Whoa, how did you do that? This is a traditional basketball sense, and you created that. And then he's like, yeah, I did. How do you think Memphis is a national championship game with Derrick Rose? Well, he did, right? So asking those questions to get to the nuts and bolts of what goes into it. And for me, I like to think of myself as a continuous learner. There's a big bookcase about 3 feet to my right. So those are all notes. Those are all like, oh, that's how you do this. That's how you run a practice. Were they all perfect? Was our team record what we wanted it to be? No, but those are all the seeds that get planted to making coaching a reality. So that's what I picked up from UMass.
Mm-hmm. And then from UMass, you went on to coaching at the high school level. What was it like coaching at the high school level compared to spending like a few years in the college level as a student manager? Like, what was the difference between the two?
Oh man. First and foremost, like, listen, man, we're on an interview. We got to be honest, right? If I could change some things, I was way too angry, and I'm not sure why. But so intense and wanted them to like, hey man, we did this cool drill at UMass. We're going to do it here.
Yeah.
Jared, I don't know why.
Not the same level.
We're just doing it. But it was a cool thing to be at my old high school, right? So I get hired, come back in. Don't laugh. Little Dana's here, right? You can walk in because I was always the little dude doing all the moves in the hallway. Bye, cat. You could walk in your old high school, where your old locker is, and some of the same teachers are there and all that. So that was awesome. But to be able to give back, right? That's the coolest thing. So yeah, my ego at first was, let me teach you all these cool things I learned, but it was still from a pure place. And we had a couple kids who ended up playing D3. Let me show you what I've learned at the Division I level. And remember, I'm from here. I'm a city kid just like you. I went to college just like you're about to go to, or even not everyone, right? But giving back, that was the key. And that's what I did for that year. I was with my old high school program.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And so going from high school, you obviously trained some elite level athletes, working one-on-one with athletes. And what was the difference between like the one-on-one coaching style between like a team?
It's the, so in my opinion, it's the energy and engagement required to be successful. Mm-hmm. And I would flip it like this: in a team atmosphere, we're all together. I can compete hard. I can compete harder.
Yeah.
Because I have all 12 of my teammates there. and we're building off each other's energy. Well, in that individual workout, it can get lonely really fast. And then those missed shots start piling up. You lose the ball handle. That starts to feel uncomfortable. How do I keep him or her engaged or them engaged? How do I keep them engaged in this workout to achieve their potential? Because on the team side, it comes a little bit easier. I would still say now I've got it. Now you have to engage 12 unique individuals, but that's the difference, right? Because they call for two totally different things. So being back at UMass, having high-level guys who are playing pro right now still currently, or on the downside of their careers, because again, 35 now, there's a difference there. Man, my UMass teammate is for sure going to play for hundreds of thousands of dollars for the next 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years. How do I, his college buddy, but a student manager, help him get there? Is it just rebounding? Is it offering pointers? So then you transfer that into the team workout where it's just inherently easier to do. But all those things, again, are all stepping stones to your development as a coach.
Yeah, I can assume it's a pretty different, definitely a different vibe in the workout for sure. And so you've done all these different experiences. So D1, high school, one-on-one coaching. Who's kind of been like the biggest influence on your coaching career, and how have all these experiences kind of shaped your philosophies and your coaching style?
So being a sociology major, I always did, and I do. I love people. I love the people dynamics. I love the intricacies of like how it all comes together, because it's powerful. One straw can break that camel's back, and now the group dynamic is gone. So when I say any and everyone, that's why there's a big bookcase right there. So yeah, it's the counselors when I was a kid at the boys club, right? Because for me, it started early. I always wanted to coach. It's Coach Logan in high school. It's Miss Irving. Yeah, Dana, go scout that tournament. You keep thinking about it, go do it. Then it's DK and Coach Wahlberg at UMass. And then it's Mr. Jordan, who was the head coach at my old high school when I was the assistant, when I coached there. And then it is Jeff at Suffolk. And then it is Coach Pop and Coach Jackson. But it's not just basketball. I take pride in being able to read and take on different managerial styles, not because it makes me a fake and phony, but again, because I love people, and I want to hear and read about Steve Jobs and the way he created and ran Apple. It wasn't perfect, and his biography says as much, but that's interesting to me. And Bill Belichick and how do your job. All those parades down Tremont Street, baby, right in front of the Suffolk dorms. Yeah. But Malcolm Gladwell's book, I'm blanking on his last name and I may pronounce it wrong. Marcus Luttrell, who wrote the book Lone Survivor, that I believe ended up being turned into a movie. That military style. The book is right there because I took it out of my bag earlier. James Andrew Miller wrote about a tell-all about, it's called Tinderbox, about HBO. Management styles, managing people to their potential. So I just take it all from anyone and everyone, put my own Coach D spin on it, and hopefully get some good results.
Yeah, I've honestly never really thought about it like that, how many different kind of philosophies and different things you can learn and then eventually bring into your profession, especially coaching, because you're always with various different people and everyone's different. Everyone is taught differently. So that's a really good way to look at it. Yeah. And then how did all these experiences eventually lead you to coming to Suffolk?
Yeah, so I tend to believe like there has to be a floor, right? The ceiling can be high, but there has to be a floor. And for me, I just look at it in the way I manage my teachers now is you have to be good enough, right? This isn't profound at all, just how I roll. You have to be good enough and then you get lucky. So all of that, now I'm coaching AAU. So Garrett, like this story is very simple. This is how it happened. Coaching AAU down in Hanover, I run into a former student manager, a buddy of mine when we were at UMass, Eric Wheeler. Hadn't seen him since we finished high school. Hey, man, what's up? We're talking his team, my team, all of that. Then a few weeks later, he called, hey, D, man, it was great running into you. I'm at school. I'm a teacher. Recess is in 30 minutes. I remember all of it, right? I just joined the staff for a new coach at Suffolk, right downtown. Oh, yeah, man, I know that. He needs another assistant. It's a volunteer, unpaid position. You willing to do it? Yeah. Love basketball, love coaching. That's another level I don't have access to. And I'd love to learn more.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm going to give you a number to Coach Duron, and we'll talk about it. I want to say talk to Coach Duron maybe the next day or so. I was in my office at school, and we talked for about 15, 20 minutes. Hey, man, great conversation. Come down to Ridgeway. Never been to Ridgeway before. Get there, show up to his office, book in hand, because God forbid I don't travel with a book. We had a great conversation, and he was like, oh, yeah, he's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm in. Because just listening to him and his vision for the program, even in those first few months, because I know he was hired over the summer. Now you're talking September of 2015. I don't mean to make it sound all magnanimous, but like I could see where he was trying to go, and I wanted to be a part of that. But Jared, that's how lucky I was. Maybe my AAU starting time was later in the day, earlier in the day, and I don't run into Eric. And maybe then Eric's not thinking of me. Yeah. So you got to be good enough, and then you got to get lucky. And
that is
the next 7 years, I'm coaching at Suffolk.
That is insane. I mean, I've only been in the sports industry for like 3 or 4 years now, and I've already seen how every single person I've talked to in the industry has basically said, yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and then a lot of it is also luck. So that's actually crazy that's crazy how it works like that. And so how has it been working with Coach Juron, and how has the program transformed with you two kind of working together side by side these past 7 years?
Oh man, working for Jeff is absolutely great. I just said it to the guys the other day in a different contextual team discussion. I have never, and I mean this, and this is why I've been here that long as an unpaid assistant. I believe in success, and I believe in driving towards success. And I've never walked on the court feeling unprepared to be as successful as he needed us to be. And that can sound like, I don't know what that sounds like, but I know it when I see it, and I feel it every single day. And until he changes that internally within himself, Jeff's just going to have to fire me before I ever quit, because I know we have a chance, and I know we have a shot, and I know he's going to do the required work to know what that team's trying to do to be successful and how we can stop them, right? And then how can we be as successful as we need to be? Maybe that first year or two, the talent wasn't what, championship level, wasn't what everyone maybe wanted it to be, right? But again, even from year one, never felt like we went into a game not knowing what it takes to be successful. So if you do that, and then you impart that on the guys, success will come, right? You have to play to your potential. You got to work to your potential. And he does that, and it shows on the court. So when you bring recruits in, the win-loss record matters, but when you show that to recruits, when they can see it and they can feel it, then, and I'm going to use it in a positive way, then you become an infectious disease, and that sustains itself over time. Hopefully we win the CCC this year. I can't wait to have a D3 national championship parade down Tremont Street. Yeah. Big old Suffolk logo there. But again, I know we have a shot if he's leading us, and whatever he needs for me to fulfill that. For me, that's my energy, building rapport and like strong bonds with the guys. Whatever he needs from me, I know we're in good hands as long as he's at the helm of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here. This is my first season kind of covering Suffolk athletics, and I can already tell that this men's basketball team always competes at like very high motor, very high intensity games. Every game I've been to has been very close, either a win or a very close loss. So it's been great to see the team compete. And I know that you and Jeff are working hard to get them prepared for those games for sure. All right. And then, so outside of the coaching at Suffolk and in your career, so you also work at Playworks New England. So maybe just give Ram Nation a little bit of background of what you do outside of Suffolk athletics.
Yeah, so I'm a senior program manager at Playworks New England. Easiest way to describe it is our Playworks coaches are PE teachers who also done recess. And I was a former Playworks coach before being promoted to become a manager, senior program manager. So that's an all day, every day, like not just recess, the ability to teach. Like, Jared, I'm sure you know how to play Foursquare?
Of course.
Okay. then I hand you, we're not talking the most well-behaved or the worst well-behaved, but I hand you your average class of third graders. Can you teach Foursquare?
Oh boy.
That is a whole different level, kickball. Again, classic games, but like, how do you teach those things? So I have that teaching background. So now I just manage those PlayWorks coaches, and I bounce around between 8 different Boston Public elementary schools, giving them the opportunity and impact that I had when I was a PlayWorks coach. But how do you make an impact, keep kids active, and turn them into just little good people, right? How do you be a good teammate? How do you be a good classmate? That's my day-to-day. And then on the weekends, when it's not college basketball season, Jared, working with 3 to 5-year-olds on basketball and soccer.
Wow.
Giving back. That's a whole nother level of skill work. Plant your left foot. Think of it like a swing. And then the little kids go like, oh yeah, I've been on a swing. Now swing your right foot and now strike the ball. And then one of them falls. We all laugh and giggle. We help them up, but then they kick it again. So that's what I do when I'm outside of Suffolk. A lot, either doing it myself or helping younger recent college grads learn what it takes to be a teacher in the classroom and make an impact.
Wow. So what are some of those differences and similarities between like coaching those younger kids compared to coaching at Suffolk, like basically adults, 18, 22, 23-year-olds?
Working to your potential and controlling what you can control, and getting a fair handle on every single one of us, right? This is not judgmental. Every single one of our ability to just doubt our ability, right? Those are like, that's what it is. So with my teachers, it's, man, that kickball game or that Foursquare session when I was teaching, didn't go well. Am I going to doubt all of my ability to teach? Or am I going to just, maybe it was that day. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was the kid. Maybe it was the kids, right? Well, then the Suffolk guys, man, I didn't run that play correctly. I didn't box out. I showed up maybe late to practice, whatever it may be. How can I stay focused? How can I still work hard to achieve what I think I'm capable of achieving? Because it's not really different, right? It's me teaching a group of people how to impart that on younger kids, and then college athletes how to do that for themselves. But it still comes back to the same thing. How can I realize my potential and not get in my own way while I'm on that journey?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So there are some pretty similar philosophies in both, for sure.
Yeah. And it's all sports, which is the greatest thing ever.
Exactly. So you're having fun regardless.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And so speaking of fun, so what are some of the hobbies and interests you do outside of like coaching and PlayWorks?
Listen, I do, I'm about to brag. Woo. Listen, I'm knocking out like 22,000 steps a day on my feet, especially when it's college basketball season. Oh yeah. Then I creep up into like $27,000 step range, right? I wish I was making all that money per day. That'd be sweet. That's like Steph Curry level. So like when I'm not engaged and active and running around, I'm at home. I'm a huge reader, like I've said a couple times. But then I love streaming. I'm more into TV than like movies, but like, I feel. In this house, there's nothing you can't watch. Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime. I mean, all of it. If it's streaming, you can find in this house. So yeah, I'm a big like, not necessarily what's the next hit show, obviously my own personal interest, but if it's out there, I'm very likely going to watch it. I'm either giving a lot of energy to others, or I'm like kicking it in to relax, trying to get the energy. So then I go out the next day and supply that energy for others.
I'm surprised you can get 20,000 steps in with all that streaming you're doing.
Listen, when I'm home, it's shh, the TV's on, y'all. Be quiet. Then I'm watching. But when I'm up and the alarm goes off, time to shower, get out of the house and make an impact.
Wow. It's a pretty solid day. So just one last question, a couple. So do you still play basketball, like either rec or men's league, and do you still get buckets?
Listen, man, not as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
One, I have like an aversion to like paying to play.
Yeah.
Above like a certain amount. Listen, like I'm not knocking any other adult who's willing to,
Oh, I know. Those leagues are expensive.
Yeah, like 150, 160 to play. I'm just like, find me the local pickup league. When I'm back at the Y, they do have a men's pickup league on Saturday mornings. So I'll play there. Again, it's right near the house and I work literally right after it. Just go shower real quick and then go teach the kids. So it's perfect. Do I still get buckets? No, I was never that guy.
Come on, you're being humble.
Listen, not at all. I just take pride in telling the truth, baby. Listen, I'm like Rondo. If my feet are set and I'm ready, I can fire it and hit a shot. But quite frankly, you don't got to worry about me shooting. You just got to worry about my speed and quickness. And I'm dropping dimes and going to be a good teammate and be a good leader. But I'm absolutely fiery and competitive. Not the corny Napoleon syndrome. I'm just, I want to compete. I want to compete with and for my teachers, right? To help them get better. I want to compete with and for our Suffolk athletes. And then internally, when I step on the court or ultimate frisbee, kickball, or dodgeball at recess, the greatest thing ever. Ask me and you can come visit my schools whenever you want. But I want to compete. So when I step on the court, I compete to the best of my ability, but no buckets. Those guys got it. You shoot it.
Yeah. So that leads me into the last question. So who would win in a one-on-one between you and Jeff?
Listen, I can challenge Jeff on the interview, right? Listen, Jeff, I'm fast. I'm fast, but that's about it. So in a one-on-one setting, Jeff's winning for sure. He's what a 6'2" former combo guard who played for a still nationally recognized D3 program at a high level, national championship game, Final Four. Jeff's results and stats speak for themselves. I'm not going to get on the interview and lie about it. It will be competitive, but I'm also 5'7", 160. Jeff's winning that one-on-one, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm about 5'5" myself, but I've always been saying it's always height over heart.
Oh yeah, listen. Oh yeah, I'm gonna compete. He's gonna get a battle, but the final score, he'll have more points than me, and that's okay. We just got to be honest in life.
Yeah, as long as you try your best.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what it's all about. All right. Well, I think that was the question all of Ram Nation was waiting for, and we would all love to see that matchup one day. But I just want to say thank you to Coach Dana for joining me today for this episode of the Suffolk Sounds podcast. You can catch Dana and the men's basketball team on Wednesday, February 16th here in Boston at 7:30. They take on CCC rival Roger Williams for senior night at the Larry E. and Michael S. Smith Court in their penultimate game of the regular season. So good luck to you, Dana, with Playworks and the rest of the season going forward, leading up to the CCC playoffs. And we really appreciate having you on.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been Suffolk Sounds. Don't forget to subscribe, like, rate, and review however you listen to your podcast.